Right, folks, well, the quiz is the boys and girls versus the adults, okay? And so we're going to see who's smartest listening to our story this week. Well, it's a new story, and it's from the Bible, and it's called Esther Becomes Queen. Anyone here called Esther? Oh, we've got one called Esther over there. There we are. Were you named after this lady in the Bible? Maybe you were. There you go. So we've got one Esther at least. And the book of Esther in the Bible is a book, one of two books that's all about ladies, all about women. And the star, or the main person in our story, of course, the main person in all the stories in the Bible is God. But the main human person in this story is this lady called Esther. And this was written at a time many years ago when God's people, the Jews, had been scattered all over the empire, and they were living in Persia and lots and lots of places. And the man who was in charge was this man here. He was called Ahasuerus. Okay? There just might be a question on that later, so just pin your ears back. So Ahasuerus lived in Persia. There we are. And called Iran today. Anyone here from Iran? There we go. Nilu from Iran. Isn't that amazing? You might be related to this man, who knows? And that's his empire. That was the biggest empire in the world in those days. There was 180 provinces. There could be a question about that later, but maybe, we'll see. And it went from India right the way over to Ethiopia. So it's Africa, India, Turkey, and even a bit of Europe. It was absolutely massive. Was there any internet in those days? No internet. So to get a message round that empire took quite some time. Well, Ahasuerus liked to have food. He liked his food. Anyone here like their food? I do too. Well, he really liked this. He had a feast that lasted 180 days. That is 6 months. They weren't into Weight Watchers at all in those days. And we had one meal once. One of my students was from Iran. We went round for a meal with her and her husband and the other members of our team. And there was just loads and loads of food. So they like to do it well in Iran. There was the king. Then after 180 days, you'd think that'd be enough, wouldn't you? But actually, he had another one. And this was a feast of wine for 7 days. Now, the Bible says it cautions very strongly against drinking too much wine. Because after 7 days drinking wine, this man and the other men with him would be well under the influence of the wine. They'd be drunk. And what happened was the king called for his queen. He said, "Send for the queen." And the queen didn't come. Maybe because she thought, I'm not coming before all these drunken men. We don't know that. We're not told that reason, but she didn't come. And the king was exceedingly angry. What? She's not coming. And he did something very, very foolish. He divorced his wife and sent her away. Well, a bit later on, he was very sad about what he'd done. And so, got one of his advisors in, smart man. You need another wife, king. And what you need to do, king, is look for all of the beautiful girls in the empire. Get them all to get ready for you and come and pick the best one. King said, that's a good idea. So they sent all over the empire, and they got the most beautiful women that they could to come before the king. And a proclamation was made, by the way, that all the women had to obey their husbands. That was what part of the proclamation was. And the next bit was, many young ladies are shown to the king. It was like a sort of Miss World type competition. And here's where we see God's plan. Esther, the Jewish lady, was chosen as the most beautiful lady at the time. And the king picked Esther. I say, why do we see God's plan there? Well, because something terrible is going to happen in this story. But Esther is going to save the day. We'll have to have that in future stories. Now, this man over here was Esther's cousin. He's an older man, and he'd looked after her like a daughter because they'd both come from Jerusalem. They'd been captured, and they were a Jewish family in the middle of the Persian Empire. And Mordecai brought up Esther to worship God, to pray, to live correctly, and she was like his daughter, but she was actually his cousin. And he wished her well, and he said, God's put you in that position. You go and serve God. And Esther was chosen as the new queen. Can you see the picture there? She's being crowned. She was the one who was first chosen out of all those women. Was part of her beauty the fact that she loved the Lord? I think it was. Well, a bit later on, you see the plan of God here. Mordecai used to go to the palace to see Esther, and he was quite an important man. And then one day, he heard two men plotting to kill the king, Bigthan and Teresh. And they were talking about how they were going to murder the king. Isn't that terrible? Wanting to murder anybody, particularly the king. And Mordecai heard this. He thought, we can't let this happen. And he went and told the guards, and they brought the two men before the king. And the king showed no mercy. Those two men were executed. They were taken away and hung. Fancy trying to kill the king. That was a terrible crime. So there was the king, and Mordecai had saved his life. But you know what? The king didn't realize who had saved him. And he didn't give Mordecai any reward. Normally, he'd give him a big reward, but he didn't. But God was in that as well. Well, do you want the bad news in the story? The king promoted a very wicked man as his prime minister. His name, Haman. Now, there are some bad world leaders around, and we should pray for our leaders, but Haman was on another level. He was really, really cruel, wicked. He was really bad. And the king made him in charge, put him in charge. The government, isn't that terrible? And Haman was so proud, he used to make people bow down and worship him. So whenever he walked into the room, everyone had to bow down and worship him. Mordecai couldn't do that because he was a godly man. He said, no, we should worship God only. No man. We worship God alone. And he wouldn't bow down to Haman. All bow before Haman except Mordecai. He would not bow. And so some of the other fellas said to Mordecai, listen, you've got to bow down to him. He'll kill you if you don't bow down. Mordecai said, I won't. And some other people went to see Haman and said, Your Excellency, everyone is bowing down except Mordecai the Jew. And he doesn't bow down because he worships his God first. So he's not bowing down to you. Haman was absolutely furious. And he said, right, I'm not just going to kill Mordecai. I'm going to kill a lot. Every Jew through the empire. And he had a plan. On the day, 12 months from now, because it took that long for the news to get round, for everyone to hear things, he gave them plenty of time. He said, 12th of March, next year, all the Jews in all the empire are going to be killed. That's his plan. Could he pull it off? He went to see the king. "O king," he said, "there's a group of people in your empire who are trouble, and they don't do what they're told. You shouldn't let these people around. You should kill them all, and I will pay for it." And the king said, "Well, okay, it's not going to cost me anything. Get rid of a load of troublemakers. Where do I sign?" And the king agrees, and he gave Haman his ring. And in those days, when you made a law, you wrote it in a clay tablet, and the king would come along and put his ring in the clay, like that. And then they'd bake it so it's hard, and that was like signed by the king. And the king gave Haman permission for his wicked plot. The king didn't realize who would be affected. His own new wife, Mordecai, who'd saved him, and lots of other good and true, hard-working Jewish people through the empire. The king had been tricked, lied to by Haman. Isn't that terrible? And God had allowed it. Isn't that amazing? Sometimes God does allow wicked people to get to the very top. So there's the law. Can anyone read that? Can you read that, Nilu? No. It's in Old Persian, isn't it? No, sorry about that. There you go. So there's the king's law. And there's Haman, trembling hand, puts his king's seal on, hands it to the messengers, and it goes out through the empire. And all the Jewish people are all terrified. They've got 12 months, and then they're finished off. And if you want to know what happens next, you've got to come back to next week for our second inciting extolment of Esther, part 2. What will happen next? Who will save the Jews? How will the Jews be saved? Find out in our serial story in next week's service. And now it's over to Kute. She's got an action-packed, fun-packed quiz for us. Over to you.
Wow, no pressure there, Steve. I've come up with envelopes and a phone, so anything could happen. So it's not just a quiz about who is the smartest, the boys and the girls. I've got a bit of a competition here. So in my hand, I have 10 envelopes. Now, don't worry, Mum and Dad, they're all in pencil, so we can use them later. I haven't wasted 10 envelopes, don't worry about that. So if you answer a question correctly, you get to choose between these 10 envelopes, and in those envelopes, there is a piece of string. Now, with that piece of string, you've got to tie it all together, and at the end, we're going to see who has got the longest piece of string, the adults or the kids. Now, before I need to pick 2 people who's got some great tying skills. Who's got some good... Mum, I know you can tie... You taught me how to do my laces. You can tie some strings. Let's have a look out there who's good at tying strings. Joanna, you can tie a string, can't you? Yeah, let's go with you, okay. And Joshua, can you do me a massive favour as well, please? When someone picks a number, can you hand it to either Joshua or my mum? Is that okay? Fabulous. Right, the first question goes over to the boys and the girls. Oh, I've got a clicker. Oh, great. What was the name of the king? Hands up. Have a little think. What was the name of the king in the story? Right at the top. Right at the back, go on. Good job, it was Ahasuerus. Now pick a number between 1 and 10. 9, let's have a look. Joshua, I might need you here. Number 9, let's see what's in number 9. What piece of string? Oh, that's a decent size string. There we go. Can you hand this over to my mum over there? She's going to tie the string for the kids. Right, over to the adults. I'm not going to take the clicker off because I just realised the answer is in the next question. But adults, spell Ahasuerus. Oh no, go back. I didn't click. No, go back. Maybe I shouldn't have the clicker. Pretend you didn't see that. Adult hands. You've got a little bit of a clue there. Spell Ahasuerus. Let's have a look. Someone have a good attempt of it. I'm going to choose. I will choose. Yes, Anne. Ooh, so close, so close. Just one letter short. One letter short. Any other adults want to have a little guess? Have a guess. Have a guess. Yes, at the back, yes. 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 Pardon? US, yes, that's brilliant. Well done. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Number 4. Let's have a look at number 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's see how long this piece of string is. Oh, it's definitely longer than, there we go. Josh, can you hand that over to Joanna for me? Right, back over to the boys and girls. Oh, thanks, Alex. What was the empire he ruled? What was the empire that King Ahasuerus ruled? Have a little think. Yes, Esther? It was Persia. Good job. Pick a number between 1 and 10, excluding 4 and 9. 5. 1, 2, 3, and 5. Let's have a look. Okay, standard piece of string. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Hope you're tying them up there, Mum. Next question, over back to the adults. What was the capital city of Persia at the time? It was on the board, I did see. It was definitely there. Have a little think. Have a little think. Come on, adults. What was... Oh, Les. It was Susan. Good job. What? Pick a number between 1 and 10. 10. Okay, let's have a look at number 10. Ooh. Guys, that's a good piece of string, that is. Can you hand that over to Joanna, please? Thank you. Yeah, put them over there. Okay, back over to the boys and girls. You guys are brilliant at this quiz, by the way. Boys and girls. Question, what was the new queen called? Go on. Esther, good job. Pick a number. 8. 1, 2, 3. Right at the back. 7 and 8. Let's have a look how long the string is. Ready? Ready? It's going. Oh, not bad. Not bad. Over to Rachel, please. Thank you. Thanks, Joshua. Next question, back over to the adults. Name. What's the name of the 2 servants who tried to kill the king? What was their names? I'll be very impressed because I kind of missed that one. And yes, brilliant job it is. What are pick a number? 2? Have 2 been taken? I think 2's been, I still have 2. Let's have a look at 2. Do I have a string? Yes, I do have a string in there. Where's the boot? Oh, there it is. Let's see. Wow, okay. Okay, adults, okay, I see. There you go. Over to Joanna, please. Thank you. So I've got numbers 3, 6, 7, and 1 left. Back over to the boys and girls. Who found out about the 2 servants? Joshua? Mordecai, that's a good job. Pick a number. 6, there we go. Let's have a look. See if we can get anything longer. That's a really good piece of string. Good job. There we go. Thank you, Joshua. And I have 3 questions. I've back over to the adults. What was the... Oh, I thought the answer was on there. What was the relation between Mordecai and Esther? Adults. Yes. It was the cousin. Good job. I've got 1, 7, or 3. 7. There we go. Let's have a look. It's 7. String. Okay. Adults, to Joanna for me. How's the string tying going? Okay, don't show me. Joanna, you doing okay? Okay, I've got 2 left. Okay, back over to the boys and girls. Who was the man who wanted to kill the Jews? Who was the man who wanted to kill the Jews? Have a little think. Let's see if anyone hasn't answered. Go on, Roshana, you haven't answered yet. Go on. It was Haman. Good job. 1 or 3? 3. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, nice. Right, I have 1 piece of string left. But adults, if you don't answer this question right, this piece of string could go to the boys and girls. So you've got to make sure you answer it right. Last one. What did the king do? What did Haman get the king to do? Yes, Tracy?
Get him to write it down and make it law.
Yes, good job. Got to write it down, make it law, and seal it with a ring. So you answered that right. We've got number 1 left. Let's see how long this piece is. It's only a little one. It's only a little one. Can you hand that over to Joanna? I'll just give you a couple of seconds to tie up all the string. And then when you're done, Joanna and Mum, do you want to come to the front and let's see how long the pieces of string are. Are you done? Okay. Do you want to hold it? Okay, so stand right next to each other. Let's see. Have it long ways. So let's stand it up. So we've got the boys and girls string over here. And then this was the adult string. I think round the course of the adults there, I think